anybody who's a fantasy football or NFL fan, I know you know that feeling because my mind is absolutely blown. This is equivalent to NBA trade deadline status. We're seeing guys left and right, wheeling and dealing. Like, it's just bonanza. I'm still struggling to grasp all the moves that have been made. And I know this is a waiver wire show, but just got to take a minute to acknowledge all the craziness that's happened today. We got Chase Claypool going to Chicago. Thank you for Justin Fields. Which, yeah, we're loving that. Hawkinson finally gives Cousins a third option in the passing attack. I know people like Osborne and stuff, but realistically, he has two options he can depend on. It's Thielen and our boy JJ. Outside of that, the game is sketch. So, with the injury to Irv Smith, where he's basically on IR the rest of the year, it's a big upgrade because you're going from no relevant tight end to TJ Hawkinson, who is a very respectable tight end. He's not an elite tight end or anything like that. I know he's a first-round pick and all that, but it's a good thing. And the Vikings are very much making a push to go all in this year. They're currently 6-1, so it's like, why the heck not, right? You get another addition to the offense and just make it even more of a nightmare for teams to defend. Then we got the last key addition, James Cook. Obliterated. Nyheim Hines. I don't really understand that move. Like, you're basically replacing James Cook with Nyheim Hines, and they must see something that they don't like in Cook because they're very similar players. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. But hey, you get an actual passing down player that they trust in there, and Singletary sucks in passing. Like, he's a negative in the pass game. So they've been trying to find this guy forever, and if it's not Cook, which long term, it's whatever because, Nyheim Hines can be gone and Cook can take over again, but in the short term, it kills him. And then we get Chase Edmonds with life again. He's reborn for the 8,000th time. He's like a cat. You can't kill this guy. You think he's dead, comes back. You think he's dead again. But Chase Edmonds, he finds a way. He gets to the trade to freaking Denver for Bradley Chubb. Monster deal, by the way. That is huge for Miami. And it makes sense. You got the rookie QB. You're putting all the studs around him. Like, that makes them a threat. They were already a legitimate playoff contender. They just got that much better. They're still not as good as Buffalo. Buffalo is like up here, but Miami's just closed the gap a little bit. So people are saying, wow, they gave up a lot. But yeah, like, it makes sense. This is the ideal time to build around your rookie quarterback. So you got all the pieces, might as well make it. So happy to see that. Oh yeah, and not only was Miami, they weren't done. They went and got out Jeff Wilson. Mike McDaniel, this guy, he's the true run game operator. We saw what Shanahan did. He was like, you know what? Forget all these back, just day 3 running backs. They don't matter, blah, blah, blah. Give me the elite playmaker in Christian McCaffrey. McDaniel was like, all right, dude, just send me Jeff Wilson. Like, no big deal. Just bring him back over here. We'll use him. Raheem Mostert is extremely injury prone. He's had, I think it's 7 lower body injuries since 2019. Like, it's just injury after injury after injury. So he has the highest chance of basically any running back to get hurt. And it makes sense. They obviously didn't trust Gaskin in that scheme. And then you have like Salman Ahmed and Alec Ingold, guys like that. It didn't matter. So, that's a good move for them. That in case they lose Mostert, then go back to Wilson. Always seen Wilson. He's a solid player. The big move is Ridley going to the Jags for actually a really good deal. And I know this isn't really, for this season, but next year, like that caps Christian Kirk into that slot role, which actually is good because then you don't have to rely on him to be the wide receiver 1. He could play in that progressively downfield in the slot, like kind of an explosive slot is what I kind of talk about him. He's like a worse Hollywood Brown in a way where you're going to push him down the field and he can win in that role. He's not great outside, so they need him inside. Then they get Calvin Ridley, who is one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. So dynasty aspect, go get Ridley if you can. People still super low on him. He's going to be the wide receiver 1 in Jacksonville next year. And who knows? Maybe they actually invest in another wide receiver. Like, they could do a lot of different things, but it centers that offense around those two. And who knows with Ingram, what's going on with him. But you get Ridley and you got Kirk. That's 2 really good options. Oh, yeah, and you get Travis Etienne. Very nice passing weapon. See what I'm saying? So Jacksonville's trying to do the same thing Chicago's finally doing, right? And Miami's doing the same thing. They're all building around these rookie quarterbacks, which makes sense because this is the best time to do it because they're so cheap. But we could talk about this all day, all the implications and all things like that. But let's actually dive into the Week 9 waiver wire show. So, biggest winner is Justin Fields. For this season, I am back on the Justin Fields QB1 train. I was there before. I left the station. because of what I saw they were doing. I did not believe in the process. That's on me. I should have believed. He's had freaking 4 straight QB1 performances. Like, that's elite. All right, so this is from an article which I was talking about. The first 4 weeks of the year, he was QB 35 with 10.3 points per game. From week 5 on, he's QB 6 with 21.71 points per game. That's massive. That's the upside we're all chasing. I know we thought it was going to be Lawrence carrying them, but it turns out Justin Fields is bringing up the offense. He's carrying everyone with him. He's doing what elite players do. He's not there yet. The beginning of the year was dreadful. His overall numbers are looking solid, but it's a good place to be, and you have confidence. He's literally second in the NFL in rushing yards. Like, hello, Justin Fields. I know you might be thinking, well, isn't it good for Chase Claypool? Yeah, kind of. Like, he gets to be the wide receiver 2 in that offense. Ideally, he stays in the big slot. Do not freaking put him on the outside. He sucks out there. He can't win contested catch situations. Keep him in the slot where he's a mismatch advantage, and that's how it helps him in Chicago. I know that everybody says, oh, they gave up a lot. It was a second. Yeah, but you're investing in Fields. He's a rookie. It makes sense. You're getting a proven NFL player. He's still on his rookie deal. You have him for this year and next year. Yeah. So, anyways, go spend 10% of your fab on Justin Fields. He's only rostered 26% of leagues. It's not going to cost you a lot, but go get him. The next quarterback I want to talk about is he who shall not be named, a.k.a. Voldemort, a.k.a. Deshaun Watson. He's rostered 17% of ESPN leagues. I'm recommending just a couple percent of your fab, just like 2%. He's gone up a little bit, not to the point where you have to spend a lot to get him, but it's basically get him while you can. Because the upside Fields has, Watson has an even higher upside. He's one of the truly elite quarterbacks in the NFL and for fantasy. If you can stash him, it's ideal for playoffs. So say you have, someone you don't trust. Maybe you have like Geno Smith, or maybe you have Danny Dimes, like one of those quarterbacks who's been good this year, but realistically they're capped and they're not the quarterback that Watson is. You have those guys, you ride them out through, and then you bring in Watson. Week 13, he carries you through the playoffs, and ideally to the championship. Like, that's kind of the strategy we're going with here. The last quarterback, this is more dart throw. This is Andy Dalton. For some reason, he's rostered in more ESPN leagues at 21% than Deshaun Watson. I don't know what's going on there, but people doing what they want to do. I would have suggested Tannehill. We don't know if he's going to be active or not. And Malik Willis threw it 10 times. Like, he did basically nothing. What they did last week is Tennessee, they ground and pounded Houston to death, and they just relied on Derrick Henry. So we literally saw almost nothing from Malik Willis. Shocker. Vrabel, super conservative. I know. But, it would have been 10. So if Tannehill is, it turns out he's going to be starting this week, go grab him. I'd much rather start him than Dalton. If he's not playing and it's Willis, I want Dalton. It's going to be a positive matchup. They're playing Baltimore. Their pass defense sucks. And, Dalton was really good last week, and he put up decent numbers the week before because they were in trail mode, and Baltimore just can't cover. They've been getting cooked all year in the passing game. They have one of the worst EPA against quarterbacks this year. Like, their passing game is atrocious, and it's not going to get any better, and it's why they've struggled so much this year. Like, you're asking Lamar to do everything, and it's very difficult on him. Like, he's a great quarterback, but he can only do so much, right? So this is why I like the matchup for Dalton. It's a 49-point over-under. There's only 2 games that have a higher potential over-under. It's a shootout, which means Dalton's going to pass a lot. They're going to have to because they literally, their defense has been okay, but it's not as good as the past years. They're not going to be able to stop Baltimore. Baltimore's offense is too good. So you're going to have to pass to keep up. Guess what? That helps out Andy Dalton. So just go spend 1% of your fab. It's no big deal. All right, running backs. Go get Chuba Hubbard. He's the guy you want. I know everybody's like, oh, Donta Foreman was a beast. Yes, he was. But the week before, Hubbard was the guy. He got the majority of the passing game work, and he was actually at a 60% of carries as well, too. So he was getting the work, the high-value touches, and he was getting more of the good work on the ground. I know it might be iffy for a week or two, but we saw P.J. Walker. This offense is not DOA, right? It's at least manageable. You can score fantasy points on it. Yes, DJ Moore. But he's going to be the guy. It might take him a little bit, but he's a better back. They obviously trust him more. They've invested more in him, so they want to get the return out of Hubbard if they can. Foreman's fine. If you have Foreman, don't worry about it. You're probably going to want to play who's ever, of the two. If Hubbard's not playing, obviously, keep rolling with Foreman. But if Hubbard's back this week, which looks like he is, I would rather start him over Foreman. Next up, we have Khalil Herbert, rostered at 47% of ESPN leagues. I want you to spend 10 fab on that because you need to get this guy. Hi. Hi, sweet girl. The Bears have one of the better passing or rushing attacks. CC, babe. Sorry about that. Daughter came in. Life happens. That's how it goes sometimes. Anyways, back to Khalil Herbert, right? They have one of the better rushing attacks in the NFL. They're led by Fields. That rushing attack teams are struggling with. And their offensive line has actually been like reasonably good. Everybody thought they were terrible. It's similar to Seattle. Thought they were one of the worst lines in the league. Turns out the young guys, they're actually improving. They're looking a lot better. They're looking respectable. Guess what? Herbert, he benefits greatly in that. He's every metric you want for rushing, he's been far better than David Montgomery. David Montgomery he's a 3-down back in the technical sense. Like he could do everything, but he just does none of it well. So he do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit there, but he's just not a good running back. Like he's passable in a lot of stuff, but nothing is a specialty, right? So you don't see anything pop for him. That's why he doesn't break long runs. Like he's not really explosive. He does anything. You see the ball when they give Khalil Herbert the ball, he's explosive. He moves like he does stuff David Montgomery can't do, and that's what you want because he's earning that rushing attack, and they're going to be in better games. Like the season gets a little bit easier, the schedule does. So guess what? It helps out Herbert. They'll be in closer games. He's going to get that rushing work. So I know. And then if David Montgomery goes down, we saw how they treated Herbert, true bell cow. So that's the kind of guy you want to chase. Now, the third guy on this list was the man who got obliterated for this year, was James Cook. We're cutting him off. No more. If you were going to put away for James Cook, move along. Move along. Now, the two guys I will suggest are the both guys that got traded today. Either Chase Edmonds if he's available, because he's available in about 50% of leagues, or Jeff Wilson. Now, Jeff Wilson's available in a lot more percent of leagues. So if he's actually available, go get him. It's going to be the backup. Most in the simple cases, one of the better offenses in the NFL. Most are extremely injury prone. Guess what? He gets injured, Jeff Wilson takes over. So ideally with these running backs, we're at this point in the year where you're just grabbing handcuff guys or guys who have standalone value, and then if the starter in front of them goes down, it's wheels up. That's both of these guys. I know Edmonds has been an absolute disaster this year, but he gets life again. So if he's available, grab him. I'm honestly happy with either one. Just spend, like 5% of your fab on your choice. It really doesn't matter, to tell you the truth. They're both getting opportunity, which is all you can ask for. Chase Edmonds could be the running back one, but Denver offense has been looks like kind of a disaster. So I would actually rather get Jeff Wilson because you're chasing after a better offense in general, right? Or if you want the other guy, it's Rachaad White. It's like a pretty low percentage he's available. I don't know why people refuse to just have this guy on their roster. It's a Tom Brady offense. Like, what are we doing, right? He's available 21, he's rostered 21% of leagues. I don't get it. It makes no sense. The upside is through the roof. He would be, like what we talk about Tony Pollard being, top 5 running back in the NFL if the guy in front of him goes down. Rachaad White has already earned a decent workload. He's not going to ever overtake it for Lenny. Lenny's too good for that. But if Lenny does go down, it's freaking bananas for Rachaad White. So go get Rachaad White. Either one of those 3 guys, you're basically just chasing upside. So go do that. Wide receiver, the big winner, Rondale freaking Moore. The mighty might, he's back, baby. He's alive, and it's so nice to see. Hopkins is a godsend for Moore. He makes life so much easier because Moore can play in the slot, and he's not coming off the field. He literally was basically on the field the entire game. He had a ton of work. Hopkins is dominating, but he can't get every single target, right? So the offense is concentrated around Hopkins, Rondale Moore, Zach Ertz. That's the passing attack. I know everyone's like, oh, Dortch, Robbie Anderson. No, they're not that good. Scrap those guys. Don't worry about them. You want Rondale Moore. He's rostered 46% ESPN leagues, so a decent amount, but he's still probably available in half. Go drop 10% of your fab on him. This is the upside wide receiver you want. If he's available, go get him. The Cardinals are one of the most Jekyll and Hyde teams. The first half they play like Mr. Hyde. The second half they come along like Dr. Jekyll, trying to fix all the issues that they've created in the first half, and they go bananas. Like the EPA, the first and second half is just massively different. Like they're so much better in the second half. No surprise, Rondale Moore comes alive. It's just it's a very good offense. You have fantastic pieces all around, and you have a really good quarterback leading it. And guess what? You want those pieces of that offense. It's Rondale Moore. Oh, yeah, and the defense, not good. So guess what? Negative game script galore. Got to pass more. Rondale Moore is a big winner. Next up, Josh Palmer. He's available in 25% of leagues. Go spend 5% of your fab. I know LA refused to bring in Brandon Cooks. Don't know what the hell the Chargers are doing. They need another wide receiver. It's literally Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, he's likely done, at least kind of like Hollywood Brown, close to the playoffs for fantasy. So he's not going to help you because high ankle sprains are a nightmare to deal with. I know everyone's is like 4 to 6 weeks. It could be pushed longer. So don't count on Mike Williams the rest of the year. You're just going to either have to put him on IR or put him in a trade, package him away. But Palmer steps into the wide receiver 2 role, and it works out well, actually, with Allen instead of Williams, because Allen gets to just dominate in the slot, which lets Palmer be outside, and he runs those roles. So they're not really going to cross into each other. It's not like DeAndre Carter and Keenan Allen, where they'd be fighting each other because Carter's playing in the slot. No. Keenan Allen dominates the slot, just Palmer stays outside. It works out. He still has 60% target share, and in year 2, it's like 10 points per game. It's not bad. Like, he's not an elite wide receiver, but he's a wide receiver, the second wide receiver, and Justin Herbert offense. Like, sometimes it boils down to that. And yeah, Austin Eckler's freaking going God mode like Austin Eckler. He's on pace to break Christian McCaffrey's like targets and receptions. Like, he's just doing redonkulous stuff. But guess what? Palmer's been pretty good too. Yeah, so go get Palmer. He's very good. The third and final wide receiver is Devin Duvernay. Rashad Bateman. We will see next year, Rashad Bateman. I don't know what's going on. The guy can't stay on the field. He wasn't even seeing the field that much when he was healthy. Duvernay steps in. And you could go after DeMarcus Robinson if you want. I'm not going to do that. Duvernay's the guy. He is the guy that sees the most snaps. He's going to get the targets. He hasn't been bad. He's going to be a very boom-bust wide receiver. So, like, a worse version of Rashad Bateman. But he's going to hit big and have explosive plays like he's shown this year. So, you're basically going after the wide receiver one of that offense. Like, it's not a bad thing. We want wide receiver ones in offenses. Oh, yeah, guess what? Guess who's the quarterback of this offense? Yeah, Lamar Jackson. Sometimes it's that simple. Their defense is going to stop people. Offense is good. Guess what? I know we talk about vacated targets and stuff like that, but somebody has 200 targets. And Duvernay hasn't been bad this year. He's been respectable. So go spend about 5% of your fab on Duvernay if you need a wide receiver in the short term, and you'll be good to go. All right, the last position, tight ends. How about Greg Dolce de Leche, baby? He's available in 34% of ESPN leagues, and I don't even understand what we're doing here. He's played 3 weeks in his NFL career. Got a late start. He was injured. He's been a tight end 1 every week. Like, this is bonker stuff right now. He's tight end 5 on the year. And this is in the Broncos offense where Sutton's been a disappointment. Judy's been hit or miss. I know we clamored for Alberto. Turns out it was Greg Dolch's, the rookie tight end that we wanted. Now, I know what you're saying. It's rookie tight end. They suck. Normally they do. But every once in a while, you get a guy like Pat Freiermuth, you get Kyle Pitts, somebody that actually comes in. Evan Ingram years ago, who we're going to talk about shortly. Yeah, they were an impact tight ends. You know, O.J. Howard, other guys. Like, guys had done it before. Guess what? Dolch's just coming in. And he's impacting that team. Like, he's actually a difference-making tight end. It's crazy. I know. We're not talking like, freaking Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce impact, but he's impacting and being a positive on your team. So, if you're struggling at tight end, like 90% of the people are, go get Greg Dulcich. Spend 5% of your fab. It's the guy you want. It's that simple sometimes. Next up, Evan Ingram. I know. What are you saying? Like, not Evan Ingram. Just hear me out. 32% of ESPN leagues he's rostered, so he's available quite a good amount. The same bit, if you can't get Dulcich, pivot to Ingram. He's on the field a lot. He's seeing snaps. He's seeing targets. It's that simple. Oh, yeah, guess what? The wide receivers aren't that good. It's Christian Kirk. It's Zay Jones. Like, it's guys. Like, Kirk's the best of the bunch, but outside of that, it's just, it's kind of iffy. So, guess what? This allows Ingram to see work. And guess what? He saw the work in the end zone. Guess what? He scored a touchdown. Oh, magical. I know. You're probably being like, dude, I just can't. Just trust me on this one. Just grab him. You want not just a disaster at the tight end position, right? You want somebody that can actually just be passable. Guess what? Evan Ingram, top 12 tight end this year. Weirder things have happened. That's why we're just keeping the bid low. We're not saying much, but just go get Ingram. He's fine. The last guy, this is TBD because this depends on if Mark Andrews is out. If Mark Andrews is out, this bid is going to jump and his roster percentage is going to skyrocket. Everything that's come out from Baltimore and Harbaugh saying that Mark Andrews should be there. So this is Isaiah Likely, who, by the way, freaking tight end 1, stepping in, no big deal, coming in. Like, they didn't even lose a step with Andrews. It's freaking crazy. Like, I'm pretty shocked by this one myself. I don't, he's another rookie tight end who's done really well for himself. So go get Isaiah Likely. Just drop 2% of your fab. If it turns out Andrews is not hurt long term, you can always just drop him. And then you can go pick up like Foster Moreau or something, right? Another backup tight end who's actually pretty respectable because Darren Waller, the ghost of Darren Waller again. So realistically, It's likely he's the guy you want to chase because the upside is freaking way higher than Foster Moreau because Baltimore's offense features tight ends. And if Andrews is out, likely steps in that role. He's not going to give you 100% Andrews, but he can give you like 80% Andrews, and that's gold in fantasy. So, let's recap. We got Justin Fields. That's the guy you want. He's like, if I'm going to talk about anybody, it's Fields. Then we got Watson. We got Dalton at quarterback. Running backs, Chuba Hubbard, Khalil Herbert. No more James Cook. Jeff Wilson, Chase Edmonds. Oh, yeah. Or guess what? Rashad White. Another one. Wide receiver, the big name, circle, Rondale freaking Moore. That's the guy of all the skillful players that I want the most. Like, he's showing upside to actually be a productive fantasy asset and be a top, 30 wide receiver in the NFL. Like, that's gold for fantasy. Josh Palmer, if you need a guy. Devin Duvernay, same thing. Greg Dolce de Leche. Dolce. Evan Ingram and Isaiah Likely. Now, once again, that's week 9 recap. Best of luck with those waiver wire folks. And what do you say? We will go. Best of luck. Adios.